Hey everybody, it's MJ from Alta Love. I wanted to do another live share because oh look, I just look over my computer, it's 4:20. So where's the love? Where is the love? This sort of idea came in and I think it was like maybe something on a social media or just generally like life, and I was like having to kind of feel into this sort of sad state of affairs that as a humanity, like, we don't want each other to be happy, or the awareness of and the owning of the shadow aspect of the self, where we like resent people for being joyful, or like there's this little bit of us that is like, when someone else is joyful, exuding success, exuding that freedom feeling, it can trigger those less uncomfortable feelings in us, and that's often, especially in our communities where we're wanting to fit in, or we're wanting to belong, and so we're wanting to portray an image of success, spirituality, artistry, whatever facade we're trying to project, but recognize that if we're projecting the facade based in unworthiness or based in insecurity, it's never going to lock in. It's never going to align, because the truth of what we're projecting is the insecurity or the unworthiness, not the facade. The facade is a superficial protective agent, you could say, protecting us from feeling the wound, because the ego would perceive us feeling the wound as repeating the wound, but actually feeling the wound as an adult, as a conscious creator, allows us to release the wound, allows us to become more aware. This is why I talk about so fervently about feeling and holding space for the depth of your emotional body. You'll never get to know yourself otherwise. That's I say these things from a place of love. Where is the love? The love is inside. There's no love outside. There's only the love within. And because, how do I know this? Because love is something we feel. Love is something we feel. It's love. We talk about love like it's hearts and chocolate and flowers and sex and whatever, family. We talk about these things like they are love. No, they're representations, they're images of love. And or they're images of what love can create, the beauty, the consciousness, the art that love creates. Hence why are we living in a paradigm shift? Because we need fucking more love. We need more love to transcend fear. We need more love to open up doorways to greater harmony. We need more love to heal and be able to feel better in these bodies and not be slaves. And not hang around with other slaves that just wants everyone to be a slave because they're a slave. You know, and doesn't want to question and doesn't want to feel. Ultimately, it comes down to feeling. That's why we don't question. That's often what I'd come up against in conversation and debate with people. What's that? You could ask until the question started to create discomfort in the feeling body, and then that was enough. Don't go there, though, you know? Here is okay because I have answers for you, but don't go there. Or don't go there because I don't want to address that. I don't want to go there. So often in my business relationships, as soon as I asked, you know, it was fine if things were going like this, but as soon as I asked this question or as soon as I addressed this thing, it was like, don't talk about that though. You know, it's fine if you're serving me, but I don't want to actually have to address how much I give or my responsibility in this relationship. Let's not talk about that. And that is often the smoke mirrors, the red flags that we as empaths can start to recognize when dealing with narcissism. So a narcissist is somebody who just doesn't ever take responsibility. They're never, ever, ever responsible for how they make other people feel. Ever. And they honestly will go around destroying community, destroying people. And as long as there's the empath there to make them feel good about themselves, they never, ever, ever have to be responsible. They don't cause pain. They don't. And then what happens is that they loop people into their world, and then that collective or that group of people have absolutely zero consideration for other. So we're living in these times of increasing polarization via separation in community. So communities of old paradigm breaking up, civilization falling, grand ruling economies collapsing. And then where's the love? Why is love important? Because love as unconditional creative forces has organizing power. And with ensuing chaos of a changing world and a changing beingness, the love is what guides us through the chaos and holds space for us when we're in the deepest depths of our own pain body. Because we all got it. And living in the illusion of love and light is no different than living in the illusion of pain and darkness or fear and separation. We are all. We are light and dark. We are shadow and brilliance. You know, it's just that what is becoming absolutely evident and clear is that people don't want to feel. They want to just power through. I'm busy. I'm productive. I'm this. I'm that. And people like us offering our services have to be very, very mindful, because people might want it one day, but then they don't want it the other. They don't want to own it the other. They just want to throw it back in your face. No, I don't need to look at that. Okay. Hence why someone like me doesn't want to manipulate people into working with me. I want people that work with me come in earnest. And people that hang around working with me commit to the work. Because some people, they get up to a certain point and we're done. I can't go deeper. And that is love as well. That is why I say no love is lost. And no matter what, whether you like it or don't like it, whether you want to hang around or not, whether you want to buy my products or not, whether you want to be a tribe member or not, I'll love you no matter what. And yet I am continually here unfolding and offering my heart, my soul, my life force to the beings who are ready to take the leap. To the beings that are, when I say this, actually, I'm reminded, I've created a new package for hardcore transformation intensives. It's a year-long coaching package, and it's it's a high ticket, but it's meant to be a ticket that could still meet people in a mid-range. And you guys know I'm always open to negotiations, to people really, really wanting to work in earnest, but are being absolutely practical, legit around what they can afford. Because those of you who know, I have a healthy kind of private client list, and but they've been accessed via certain channels where I'm aware that is a very small pocket of the humanity as far as what their price point is and what they can afford. So I'm now offering a year's intensive package, and that's for somebody who's maybe in the thick of spiritual awakening and or in the thick of transformation, and ultimately feels like you're flailing and you need a hand to reach out. And so I feel like I can only work with probably 2 people at a time, and the reason is that one of my very regular clients that I would work with 2 or 3 times a week, we've finished up a coaching package, and so I now have space for one more, because there's one person I'm working with currently who, again, I work with them 3, 4, 5 days a week sometimes. And this is a meditation, yoga, coaching. This is kind of like a full package, right? So that's where it's a bigger price point, because it takes up a fair amount of my love and energy. And because it's not about hoarding, it's just about flow. I don't need to take on too much work so that I wouldn't be able to manage my outpour. That's also part of being a responsible teacher, being a responsible advocate of all of this stuff, is that if you're racing around trying to survive, the source point, the love that we give isn't the same quality, which is why we become more and more discerning, more and more responsible. I talk about this a lot. It was something why I started to pioneer this online work via the yoga teacher who was a slave, essentially, right? Not able to sustain that as a means to make an income, but hitting a wall financially of, you can only earn so much, right? Because you can only be so busy. And so when you think about one day maybe being able to buy land, one day maybe taking more holidays, treating myself to more professional development and retreats where I get to learn and be held and supported, that excites me. My heart feels blessed and open to receive that. And yet that comes from the love. That comes from having so much effing love of self that life then becomes available, because I believe it to be true. I believe the worthiness here to be true of that reflection. And yet that is where it's like, it wasn't a leap into a new career. It wasn't like go from one job to another. It was a total transformation of my body, my life, my perception from one paradigm to another. Being a full-time yoga teacher, I love what I do, but it's not going to sustain me for the rest of my life. And, 3 to 6 years it's taken to ultimately attract international clientele. And this is in earnest. This is via manifestation. This is just miraculous people turning up and buying coaching sessions and buying, to the point that you have a steady flow, and then that's your new life, and you realize, I did it. I can travel the world. I can see and reach people and have sessions with people and pay my life and travel around. It doesn't necessarily have to, well, there again, this is where everyone has a different relationship with money, and everyone has a different relationship with manifestation and what they desire. So I'm just somebody I'm not into clothes the same way a lot of people are. I'm not into like possession the same way people are. So there's this real sense of ease in as far as manifesting that which you desire, but you believe it and you deserve it because it's true to you, right? It's true to you. If you want a big mansion and Ferraris and all that kind of stuff, that's true for you. Then you're capable, and absolutely. It's like Abraham talks about, there's no difference vibrationally in manifesting a button or a castle. It just has to do with your point of attraction. It's to do with your belief system. Like royalty would attract castles and peasants would attract fields. It's like, we have it stored up in our codes and our DNA. And for a lot of us, the innocent vision has just been to run wild and free in the fields, without the burden of survival. When survival here is inherent, it's a divine birthright. The fact that we have to struggle and suffer to survive, that is the disparity. That's the gap that we're closing, and that in essence the light worker movement is the transcendence of that struggle via the feeling of it, feeling the suffering of it, versus the earthlings that have been so conditioned to it they don't even feel their enslavement, or it's too painful to even up level it. Hence all this deep emotional quantum work is that we're transforming the pain body of the collective via our own, because we're one with the whole. It's one mind. Okay, so where's the love? It's in your heart, my friends. Love, heart, vibrashe, virtual hugs for everybody. Much, much love. I'll